Hello everybody. How y'all doing tonight? Hello YouTube. How you doing? How you doing? Come on in. We'll get started in just a moment. I'm Queen Lillie. Welcome to my live. And who are we talking about? Donald Trump. It's always a continuation of Donald Trump because there's always some mess with him and his cabinet. More stuff on the Epstein files. Um, Things going on in Chicago with ICE, Laura Loomer, jdvance. We got a lot to cover, y'all. So just hold on. Hold on, Jeffro. I'm coming, baby. Hold on. Let's let more people come in and we're going to get started because Pam Bundy, she got some okey doke with her and it ain't cool. I would not accept the behavior from Pam Bundy because right now Pam Bundy needs to own her words. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about in just a moment, okay? Hello, King Allen. How you doing, my love? Hello, and thank you for the flower. Thank you so much, baby. Good to see you. We got a lot to talk about, y'all. We're going to let more people come in, and I'm just going to keep bumping my gums until they come on in. And I may even go ahead and get started. But I'm trying to wait just to, some more people come in, I had one of the best days today, a day of nothing but laughter. When things seem like it's going wrong, it's really falling into place. So that was one of the days that I had today. But we're going to go ahead and get started. As I stated, I am Queen Lillie. Welcome to my live. Who are we talking about? Donald Trump. As you come in, hit that like button. And if you like to donate to my channel, you can send me super chats and super stickers. Yes, super chats and super stickers. In my description is my Venmo and my PayPal. So if you're feeling jolly and you want to send me something through Venmo or PayPal, you can send me something that way as well. It's all appreciated. We're going to go ahead and get started because I know it's late and y'all got to go to work. I got to get up in the morning as well myself. Not that I got to go necessarily to a job or anything, but I got stuff to do because bills got to be paid. So we're going to listen to something that old JD Fancy Pants has to say. JD Fancy Pants certainly there are going to be more indictments because he's talking about after the indictment for Comey, there's going to be more indictments. With J.D. Vance, there's going to definitely be more indictments, and those indictments are going to be for you, Donald Trump, Pam Bundy, and hopefully Kash Patel, and the list goes on. So let's see what J.D. Vance has to announce. One moment.
Just got on Fox News and said that there are certainly going to be more indictments coming in the next 3.5 years of the Trump administration. And he, of course, claims these indictments are going to all be made on facts and evidence. Check this out, and then I'll debunk that claim real quick.
James, do you think there are more indictments coming, and do you think that's justified?
Well, there's certainly going to be more indictments coming over the next 3.5 years of the Trump administration, but we're always going to let the law drive this stuff and the facts of the case and not political motivations, which
facts and evidence.
Hello,
Toby.
Hello,
Director
King.
McCabe says he hasn't been contacted at all by the FBI about Comey. That's very surprising considering his interactions with Comey 9 years ago are going to be the entire basis of this prosecution. That's right, the prosecutors who are going after James Comey don't even want to sit down and hear what this guy has to say about the situation at all. That's because this is a politically motivated prosecution. They've already made up their mind. They don't want to hear anything else proving them wrong. If they were building a serious and legitimate case, then of course McCabe would be one of the first people they would want to speak with, considering he is a top figure who worked very closely with Comey, and as he mentioned, his interaction is going to be the basis of this entire case. In my opinion, the fact they haven't reached out to him yet is proof that he did nothing wrong. They're leaving out people who are central to the events of this case because they know that they have no evidence. This looks a lot less like justice and a lot more like selective prosecution. J.D. Vance just got on Fox News and said that there are certain...
J.D. Vance, you will come out better going back to dress as a drag queen than coming for James Comey. Because James Comey has the education that you and Donnie don't even have put together. See, you was DEI to get into Yale. You didn't get into Yale because you're brilliant. You're not a Barack Obama that actually had grades to get in Harvard. J.D. Vance, you got into Yale because you was DEI. So for you to come for James Comey, you ain't got the books or the looks to do it. What Donald Trump has done to himself, he has set a trap for himself by going after James Comey. He didn't make it to be an FBI agent. He was great at what he has done. Now, Kash Patel is not great at being an FBI agent. He sucks at it. He is the worst FBI director ever in history. Did you not hear what our girl, Jasmine Crockett, had to say about Kash Patel being the director of the FBI? She let him know he is the worst FBI director ever in history. Now, let's see what a little girl named Pam Bundy has to say. You know, Pam Bundy, because you making statements and you going after people, and that's because Donny Boy has told you to do it. Now the statement, blondes are dumb, that a blonde doesn't have a brain. Girl, I thought you was high IQ because you failing at the test right now. What I'm talking about, hold on, I'm going to show y'all exactly what I'm talking about. Pam Bundy, your own words. Now, chat, I want y'all to, do y'all remember the words that came from her paper thin lips? Pam, this must apply to Donald Trump as well. Don't come with your BS later and try word selling America. I'm going to show y'all what I'm talking about. So these are some words that Pam Bundy put on X. These words is going to come back and bite you on your butt, you little pale girl. It's going to come back and bite you in a way you've never been bit. So I'm going to show you, then I'm going to read it to you, okay? So these are the words from Pam Bundy, the DOJ. Well, Pam Bundy stated, no one is above the law. Today's indictment reflects this Department of Justice commitment to withholding those who abuse positions of power accountable for misleading the American people. Will follow the facts in this case. What Pam Bundy, this too should apply to Donald Trump. See, Donnie think he's above the law. And you said no one is above the law. Well, Pam Bundy, I beg to differ. Because old orange face, funk box Donald Trump thinks he's above the law. See, Donnie Boy wants to be king. But if he only had a brain. They're going after James Comey. And that's why she made that statement. James Comey, too, is more intelligent than Pam Bundy. Him and his daughter, Maureen Comey, are two intelligent prosecutors. See, Pam Bundy, she's not low IQ like Donald Trump. She's a little brighter than him, but still blondes are dumb. My point I'm making is she doesn't have the qualifications that James Comey nor Maureen Comey has. They will lose. Donald Trump, this is going to be your downfall, Donnie boy. Yes, your downfall, boy. Because you're just not smart enough. You got to be quicker than that. And that you not, Cankles. I'm going to show y'all something. The white, mediocre white man has always been threatened by the black woman. It just didn't start recently. You know how Donald Trump is threatened by my girl Jasmine Crockett, by VP Kamalaharris, which is, her book is #1 right now, bestsellers list, without the fake bestsellers list. Let me show you what I'm talking about.
You know the first Black Miss America was set up to fail from the very moment she won her crown? On September 17th, 1983, Vanessa Williams made history as she was crowned Miss America. The crowd erupted in celebration, cameras flashed, and America watched what seemed like a breakthrough moment. But behind the scenes, pageant officials were already planning her downfall. Months before the crowning, Penthouse magazine owner Bob Guccione had contacted Miss America
Fair use.
He threatened to publish
Know
new
your fair
photographs
use,
of Williams
nappy
unless they
head,
stopped her
long
from winning.
star, one
Instead of
star.
protecting her, the officials made a calculated decision. They would crown her anyway, then use the scandal to force her out later. Throughout her entire reign, pageant executives secretly fed information to Penthouse magazine. They timed everything perfectly for maximum damage. In September 1984, the photos were published, and Williams was forced to resign in tears. Officials acted shocked, calling it an unexpected scandal they had orchestrated from day one. The first Black Miss America had been used as a token, then destroyed by the very people who crowned her. Did you know the first Black Miss America was set up to fail from the very moment she won her crown?
It used to once be you would break up the black household by taking the black man out of there because the white man was so threatened by the black man. Well, today, the white man is definitely threatened by the black woman. We see it quite so often from stealing an election from a black woman they actually won. Yeah, Donald Trump and Elon Musk pulling stunts. They nothing but stunt queens. I said it. Yes, I said it, and I stand in it. I'm voicing my opinion that Donald Trump did not win this election. That is my opinion, and I stand in it. He said from his paper-thin, funky lips that the election was rigged in his favor. And you heard him say it. Don't play in my face. He also said that Elon Musk knows those voter machines better than anyone. So don't play in my face. I'm black, and I'm smart. Don't play in my face. The white man, the mediocre white man is very threatened by the black woman. And that's why Jasmine Crockett will help bring Donald Trump to his funky cankle knees. So, MAGA is, all the MAGA men is DL. What I mean by that, MAGA men is down low men. And I got a prime example of it because one of them is laying in a bed with a transsexual, yes.
To these DL MAGA men who want discretion even though they voted against my rights.
Yes, MAGA men are all DL men.
Shout out to these DL MAGA men who want discretion even though they voted against my rights.
That's a pretty transsexual, so I can understand he got the hots for it. But the thing is, I think she paid him, he liked to be paid a lot. It's not that he's sticking to transsexual. He likes to get paid. You're a naughty boy. See, you white men, mediocre white men, not all, because there's some great white men in this world. But those mediocre racist white men, they like to take it in the bun. They like for you to take it out and put the mud all over their face. They want to taste the mud. One moment. We're going to take another listen about the black woman, okay?
Because black women walk in their own power. White females, specifically white MAGA females like Pepper and mangled face Laura Loomer, are jealous because they do not. They are conditioned from birth to be male-centered. They are taught to compete against other women and tear down other women, to fight over crumbs of male approval like starving pigeons. They willingly shrink themselves as second-class citizens for the affections and approval of weak, less than mediocre white males who can't even compete on the rigged playing field they created for themselves. Black women are still beating them. Black women are competing on a level all their own, whether it's leading in higher education, leading in entrepreneurship, leading the global revolution, leading global trends in music, fashion, and culture. And on top of all of this,
hit that like button.
Conservative white females have only led in their own downfall and birthing the most mass shooters. They are their own worst enemy. They stand in their own way, and that's where their seething jealousy comes from. And to add insult to injury for them, the biggest insult is that black women are black. That's what burns them to their core, is knowing that every brutal attempt to break black women, every chain, every law, every insult, every barrier only made black women more powerful. And no mangled face internet troll calling black women ghetto black bitches will ever change that, because the only thing ghetto is that face. For Laura Loomer and MAGA females, every inch of their relevance comes from men, tossing them scraps. She has to sit, wait, and beg for a pat on the head, a pity title, or some hand-me-down position a man tosses her way. Jasmine Crockett commands respect off the strength of her own brilliance and accomplishments. You see Laura Loomer attacking Jasmine Crockett because she's black, attacking AOC because she gained some weight. She never comes for intellect, education, or accomplishments because she has none to compare. She attacks physical appearance because that's how conservative females measure success. But Laura Loomer doesn't even measure up to her own standard of success, and she knows it. That's why she keeps chopping up her face, desperately trying to measure up to that standard. But why doesn't she have that same energy for the surgeon who did that to her face? Because that is ghetto. Honestly, her surgeon deserves a medal for public service because they gave her the face that she deserves. So thank you, doctor. And their favorite dog whistle is to say that black women are too aggressive.
Black women are not aggressive. You can say that all you want. You can make a million videos and they can get hundreds of thousands of views and everyone can cheer you on. And you can say they're not aggressive and everyone knows it's a lie. I grew up in a city around them, and out of every race, they were the most aggressive. Wow, black women don't like being called aggressive, do they?
And I can completely understand why the weakest females to walk this earth are intimidated by the women who walk in their own power.
You ain't demure, honey. You're diabolical. You ain't demure.
Everything I show is fair use, great for educational purposes, and great for research, and great entertainment. And I throw a little comedy in there. You know I do, baby. I agree with everything she said. Why am I showing this? It's not about race. Because I love you all. I even love MAGA, even though you don't like me and you threaten me every day. But I can't help it. It's a fact. The white mediocre man is threatened by the black woman. And Donald Trump is definitely threatened by Jasmine Crockett. Oh, he loves and makes that claim that she's low IQ. Anytime Donald Trump is talking about anybody, he's projecting and deflecting because he's low IQ. He doesn't have the education of Jasmine Crockett. No, baby, he doesn't. And you know it. Hit that like button for me. And we're going to see some. Chicago is standing up to ICE. And I knew they would. You're not going to go to a black state and think you're finna do them like you did people in other states, like D.C. Chicago, stand down, baby. Do your thing. Show them what you got. This is Chicago. They ain't finna play with you.
They have created a war zone here on Chicago streets. Actually, Broadview, Illinois. All right, so this is what they're doing, creating this environment here in this community. All right, they got their boards in the back.
Let me see what else going on with this, y'all, because it says ICE has escalated week after week. They have told the village of Broadview that tonight will be a shit show, terrorizing residents and using more force against protesters. So you're going to brag about using force against the protesters, really? So that make you feel more manly and tough when you're actually weak if you're running around here with a mask on? You're chicken shit. Not that it's a shit show, but you chicken shit.
No, but this is right and wrong. This is wrong. This is very wrong. What's happening in Gaza is very, very wrong. This is very wrong. This is fascism. We need to stand up Yes, fascism.
Stand up, America.
But this is right and wrong. This is wrong. This is very wrong. What's happening in Gaza is very, very wrong. This is very wrong. This is fascism. We need to...
For our country. Do you feel that? Does your heart feel this? Please, open your heart. God loves you and doesn't want you here doing this. God loves you. Don't do this. Open your heart.
Honey, you can tell the devil to open their heart. Honey, the reprobated minds don't hear you. That beautiful white woman is over there asking ICE to open their heart. Only thing their hearts is seeing right now is dollar signs because, honey, Donald Trump is paying them plenty. And they get bonuses. So that's why they're out there targeting our beautiful black and brown people with their dark souls and their dark hearts. Don't beg them. You got to give the same energy that people give you. This is something a lot of people don't know about. Take a listen. Thank you, Jelly Moss. Thank you.
But it's just a stolen name.
Hold on, I'm going to start this over because I want y'all to really hear this.
They call themselves Netanyahu, but it's just a stolen name, a Hebrew mask plastered over a European exile's face. His real name was Milikowski, born of Ashkenazi lineage from Poland. Benjamin Netanyahu has neither the blood, nor the land, nor the language of those he claims to represent. His Judaism is not that of the shepherds of Hebron, nor the poets of Jaffa. It is the Judaism of a colonizer from elsewhere who put on the prophet's robe to hide the scent of ashes. Because what he represents today is not a people, it is a machine, a political, military, ideological machine, a machine of steel and contempt. Netanyahu didn't grow up on the banks of the Jordan. He grew up in the salons of New York's conservative elite and the ultra-nationalist sermons of his father, Ben Zion, the hardline Zionist historian. He never spoke Arabic. He never shared bread with a Palestinian. He never had to bury a child beneath the rubble of an Israeli airstrike. He is not from this land. He took it. And yet he decides. He demolishes. He signs the orders. Today, under his rule, Gaza is a graveyard for children. Rafah, a field of... They call themselves Netanyahu.
Netanyahu is a fake. Israel, they get billions of dollars from our country. They get free insurance while the American people are not getting free insurance. And your Medicaid and Medicare, a lot of them been cut off already, will all be cut off if it's up to Donald Trump. Because Israel have him by his balls. Yes, your boy Donnie, your savior Donald Trump, is being held by his balls, America. Netanyahu make Donald Trump do whatever he wants. America sends them billions of dollars while they're making the American people suffer. Netanyahu is a fake. One moment, please. One moment. So we're going to hear something about old Epstein boy, you know, nasty boy. Him and Donnie boy, I call him nasty boy. They are Brokeback Mountain brothers. That's what they are. Y'all saw that statue, yeah, at the mall. Donnie and Epstein celebrating their good old friendship. Like I said, Brokeback Mountain, okay? Hit that like button for me.
The FBI raided Epstein's house and took what was in his safe in July 2019.
Yeah, so what are we to think of Kash Patel's credibility in which he denies these exist?
Well, you know, I mean, Kash Patel, I mean, there's a lot of years have passed. I mean, it is, even if they were in the safe when the FBI came, between then and now, or then and when Kash Patel became the head of the FBI, I suppose anything could have happened to them.
If you like this update, check out the
Kash Patel sucks at what he does, and like Jasmine Crockett stated, he's not qualified. He is the worst FBI director ever. One moment. So, the Epstein cover-up bunch. I'm going to show you, then I'm going to read it off to you, okay, beautiful people? Okay, the Epstein cover-up bunch. Donald Trump, Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel, Pam Bundy, Dan Bongino, Caroline Lovett, Anna Lunatic, that's what they calling her, and Laura Loomer. So, when jdvance is talking about more indictments coming, oh, more indictments are coming. They're coming for you, baby, and Dunny Boy and the crew. Donald Trump's administration are all crime mob. One moment. So we're going to take a listen to something about the Epstein emails, okay? Just a moment, please. I love water. And I love y'all.
Surya Matu and Jason Leopold and
Hold on.
Ava Benny Morrison and many other.
Remind everybody the emails that Bloomberg got access to, what you guys have been going through.
Yeah, that's right. It's been one of the highlights of my 20 years in journalism to be a part of this team with Surya Matu and Jason Leopold and Ava Benny Morrison and many others. So, Epstein, who remains so profoundly central to the public imagination, and yet such a profound enigma. Bloomberg News obtained, thousands, more than 10,000.
I'm going to pause because I'm in such a good mood. I'm going to pause that. I'm going to make you famous, Malia Tooley. How you doing, girl? I'm not going to call you queen because you're talking SHIT about me. Malia Tooley, you said do some real research before you run your mouth. How about you do some real research before you get on my channel and run your dick suckers? How about that? When you come for me, you're coming for a queen. So you come here and sit your pale face ass down and show respect in mi casa. Because I don't want to hurt your feelings. I will break you down so bad and mollywop you with my words. So sit your ass in my chat and shut the F up. One moment.
I want to be clear. These are private emails. These aren't things that have been recycled through. It's not things everyone knows about. This is new stuff, and it's from a.
Hit the like button, please.
Actually, for example, there was one email where someone says, "Listen, I need to talk to you about something private. What email would be good?" And he writes back and says, "This one," to give you a sense of what we're talking about here. And my colleagues, including Harry Wilson and others, did some really remarkable reporting on Peter Mendelsohn, who lost his job as the UK ambassador to the United States.
Exactly.
In the wake of their story. And Ava Benny Morrison and Jason Leopold have done, and others have done great work on Ghislaine Maxwell and really carefully showing that her relationship to Epstein was just much deeper and their partnership was much closer than either had admitted. And what this story, which I wrote with this wonderful team, what this story is about is, in some ways, I hope, not the usual. Epstein is, of course, in some ways a story about sex and sex crimes. But I think what you'll find is that what this story is about is about what I cover. It's really a story about money and a story about power and a story about connections. And that's how we talked about it with our editors, including Lauren Eder.
And it's can I just pop in that there's a bunch of people pictures, and I'll be honest with you, I think when we both look, I didn't recognize most of them.
Well, that's what I think was so notable about this. I mean, there are certainly the names that have been associated with Epstein for years, like Alan Dershowitz, for example. Right. And there's new information, new emails from there, and a conversation that your team had with him about that. But there's also a name that I'd never seen before. Mary Spaeth, somebody who's a crisis strategist. She was director of media relations at one time for the White House under Ronald Reagan. Yep. What role did she serve?
Well, thanks for that question, because I think what's special about the piece, and I hope viewers and listeners check it out, I think what makes it a valuable piece of journalism, especially at this moment when Epstein is really in the news and is all of a sudden has gone from being an exclamation point to a real question mark. I think there are a lot of questions about what's going to happen now over the next few days and weeks and months with Epstein and his files. What our story is about and why Mary Spaeth comes up is that it's about the depth and the breadth of his relationships. And, it is not a story about Republicans versus a story about Democrats. It's a story about powerful people. And it's a story about different kinds of power. It's a story about academics and researchers, people who make it into high elite echelons of intellectual life. It's about people who offer, like Mary Spaeth offers, a basically strategy for people who are in trouble, crisis strategy, public relations. And it's a story about counselors and lawyers. And to answer your question about Mary, there was a point, believe it or not, where investigators are closing in on Jeffrey Epstein. This is early 2008. He's about to go to jail for it's like about a year. It's a little bit longer than a year.
Right.
And after that, he's a free man for a very long time, I think about a decade, until the 2019 charge, sex trafficking. And then he dies. He's found dead in prison or jail right after that. But back in 2008, investigators are circling. Epstein's in trouble. And what do we find in these emails? But these draft apology options where she sends him 3 different kinds of apologies. One is one's very meek. Talks about his memories of being a kid. It's actually, I found it very deep. It reminded me, all of us remember being kids and having to apologize. The second one is very short. It's really terse. The third one, it's the word we use is elegiac, and it is. He cites William James. I'm hoping it's the first Bloomberg News story that calls out William James, 19th century American philosopher. Talks about the hour of terror and the hour of satiety. How about that word? And he talks about the American dream. Talks about the American dream and its substantial rewards. And he says this is a public and heartfelt apology.
I just want to say Spaeth's firm was hired through a lawyer to provide communications options for Mr. Epstein and his legal team. She said in response to questions for the story, she said, quote, "I ultimately terminated the engagement because of my discomfort with it."
That's right. Thanks for saying that. I think it's really important out of fairness that we add things like that. And she also said, because of confidentiality and privilege, she can't comment further. But, we don't know what was going on here. I want to be clear with our viewers. Right. For all we know, Epstein was really very close to saying sorry, but he did not. He did not in the sense of giving a broad apology, certainly to his victims.
I don't expect an apology from a narcissist. We would never get an apology from Donald Trump. Donald Trump and Epstein is the same person, you ask me. There's no difference in those two. Donald Trump liked to grab him by the PUSSY. Epstein would take the PUSSY. It's been alleged that Donnie Boy was taking the PUSSY from him too. And his emails, his almost apologies from Epstein, it would never fly with me. He's a narc. He was a narc. Donald Trump is a narc as well, in my opinion. So the MAGA Republican men, the MAGA Republicans are either DL men or pedos who begs to differ in my chat. You can beg to differ in my chat, but that's my opinion. The MAGA Republican men are DL men, they mean down low, are pedos. And if you beg to differ, I've shown y'all proof in my lives. I can do another live and show you the proof again. Shall I proceed? Yes, indeed.
Reporter just tried to sabotage a black author's book signing, and the worst part is he has a history of doing this. Take a look at this video because it's a perfect example of how hate is being weaponized in this country to silence those that deserve to be heard.
MAGA has serious issues.
This occurred at Duncan Branch Library in Alexandria, Virginia. The author who was hosting this book signing is Dr. LaTanya Reese Miles, an author of Smart Girl, a first-gen origin story. The guy in the video who was acting like a fool has a history of similar disruptive behavior and prior arrests for public intoxication. But thankfully, cops dragged him out of there and charged him with disorderly conduct as well as assault. When things like this happen in the United States, it's not an accident, it's part of a larger pattern. There are many extremists in this country who take every chance they get to silence black voices. They just hate seeing black people succeed. Donald Trump and all of his supporters have still not got over the fact that we had a black president. That is why they're taking every chance they get to try to smear his character and claim that he made up the entire Russiagate investigation as well as the Epstein files. But that video shows the direct result of Donald Trump's messaging and the impact it has on everyday Americans' lives. This guy showed up to spread hate and fear in a space that should have been safe for community and celebration. He was trying to decide who gets to speak, who gets to feel joy, and who gets to tell their story in America. But thankfully, he failed miserably, got arrested, and the book signing still went on and was a major success. A Trump supporter just tried to sabotage a black author's book signing, and the worst part
Now, I told y'all these mediocre white men, MAGA, are threatened by black women. The black woman, which I gotta keep telling y'all this so y'all can leave us the F alone. The black woman is the most educated in this country. It's a fact. And that's why MAGA, mediocre white men are so bothered. That little peewee just draws up every time a black woman succeeds. So Donald Trump is tired of it. He's trying to figure out how to stop the black woman. So what does he do? He try to lay them off from the government jobs and says DEI. No, baby. The black people have to work 10 times harder than you to get anything in this country. So pick another mediocre idea, please. So we're going to hear more about the Epstein files.
For at least 40 minors who gave sworn statements to the FBI as part of the investigation before a decision was made in this case that they had been raped, abused, and trafficked. Over 40 minors. And the line prosecutor in this case wrote an 82-page memo to the leadership in the U.S. Attorney's Office recommending a prosecution. And she was so convinced, based on the evidence and interviews that she had taken and reviewed, that she drafted a 53-page indictment in this case. And what Mr. Acosta just told us is that based on his assessment of the case with his team, that he did not see sufficient evidence to move forward with prosecuting the case, that there were weaknesses in the case. There were at least 40 minors who gave sworn statements to the FBI.
And who is Acosta? He is now in Donald Trump's. He's in Donald Trump's administration. It appears to me, and in my opinion, that Donald Trump's administration is a bunch of mediocre white men that are DL down low and pedos. Why would Acosta allow Epstein to have a sweetheart deal? It seems to me all these people are connected, even Pam Bundy. Wasn't she a prosecutor in Florida at the time? All of these people are connected. And what did Donna do? Donnie Boy put them all in his cabinet. And they're all criminals, in my opinion. Pedos are dangerous. Donnie Boy is very dangerous. He's a menace to society. So, the mediocre, low IQ white man speaks.
Those trying to foment hatred against us, what do you have? You have nothing. You are nothing. You are wickedness. You are jealousy. You are
This is what he's saying about black people. What do y'all have for us to hate? Nothing. You age awfully. You wrinkle like a raisin.
You have nothing. You are nothing. You are wickedness.
This is what Miller had to say about black people. That we're nothing, we're jealous. What are we jealous of? Definitely not your skin. The sun hates you. We wrinkle less than you. We age so gracefully. You take a white woman my age, 52, never had any work done, she would never look as good as me. Never. I'm the child of the sun. My people was here before your people were ever here. Again, the white race is only 6,000 years old. Bow down. We've been here, the first ones on this earth. Bow down. Try to love sometimes. We love you. But you hate us so much. We can't feel any love coming from your pores because there's so much hate coming from you. The FBI, being the white mediocre white men, paid other blacks to infiltrate our communities. Take a look.
Just watching black neighborhoods, they were infiltrating them. From 1967 to 1973, the FBI ran a secret operation called the Ghetto Informant Program. Thousands of black people were paid to spy on their own communities.
Hit
No
the like
charges,
button,
no warrants,
please.
just fear. And a federal agency determined to treat black survival like a threat. In the heat of the civil rights movement and the urban uprisings in the 60s, the federal government didn't just invest in justice. They invested in surveillance. J. Edgar Hoover's FBI launched the Ghetto Informant Program, all to collect intelligence on black activists, revolutionaries, and everyday residents. Over 7,000 informants were embedded in housing projects, barbershops, churches, and community centers. They weren't just watching suspected militants. They were instructed to report on any gathering, radical literature, or political unrest. The government literally made blackness synonymous with subversion. And the informants, they were often poor themselves, pressured into trading information for cash, protection, or reduced sentences. The Ghetto Informant Program was sold as a way to prevent riots, but its real mission was to undermine black power. They targeted the Panthers, Malcolm X's circle, SNCC, the Nation of Islam, even Dr. King's allies. One infamous tactic? Having informants shadow funerals and report who attended. Disgusting. Because to the FBI, mourning the dead could signal a political threat. Churches were tapped, schools were monitored, and confidential informants were told to befriend organizers, only to betray them. This program ran alongside COINTELPRO. They weren't separate, they were part of the same anti-black machinery. And just like COINTELPRO, the damage that was left behind was devastating. The fallout was deep, communities became suspicious of one another. Movements collapsed under the weight of betrayal. People stopped trusting neighbors, friends, even family, because any one of them might have been an informant. And the worst part is that there was no accountability. The program ended in 1973 after public outcry, but the names of many of the informants were never revealed. No reparations were paid, no apologies were issued. The government didn't just spy, it fractured the very idea of black unity. So when people say the government doesn't care what you post, remind them that the FBI once ran an entire program to track what black people said at cookouts, funerals, and Bible study. Because to them, survival was suspicious, and solidarity, that was the real threat. They weren't just watching black neighborhoods, they were infiltrating them.
What's his name? Byron Douglas, whatever his name, that's always on Fox News, licking Trump's boots. Yeah. If you ask me, he's a part of the Ghetto Informant Program. See, Trump has a lot of them. Yeah. But I would never be one. I would never turn on my people. I don't mind loving all, but I'm down for my people. Donald Trump and his administration is a cabinet of hate for black American people. One moment.
Some news right now, the FBI under Kash Patel has fired multiple FBI agents who were photographed kneeling during a racial justice protest following the murder of George Floyd, who died at the hands of multiple police officers. Now, these agents had previously been reassigned, but now they have officially been fired, according to the Associated Press. According to the AP, about 20 agents have been fired total for kneeling during the protests. Now, this comes amid a broader purge of FBI agents from across the agency by Kash Patel. And listen, a number of agents have actually sued the FBI for unlawful termination. But here's the deal, folks. These agents kneeled, that's their First Amendment right, and they have been fired because of it. And it's yet another example of the targeting of freedom of free speech in America. We'll have more to come soon, so spread the word. Full breakdown on my Substack, linked in bio. Subscribe for free. Follow along, stay up to date on all the news you need to know about. More to come. We have some news right now.
Be sure to subscribe to Aaron Ponners on YouTube. You won't regret it. He put out some of the best content, and I enjoy watching him on YouTube. Even on Instagram. Follow him on Instagram. When people film something, there's a reason. What was Epstein's reason, y'all? Inquiring minds want to know.
Children were raped on camera on Epstein Island, Traveler. This is how the system works. Girls were trafficked from all over the world. Foster homes, poor neighborhoods, anywhere a disenfranchised girl would live. Epstein's homes were loaded with hidden cameras. Every bedroom, every hallway. Men in power from all over the world were flown in. Politicians, CEOs, judges, intelligence officers. They raped, tortured, and murdered those children. It was all caught on camera. Now that footage is currency. Mossad stored it. CIA indexed it. MI6 helped move it. The footage wasn't used to arrest them. It was used to control them. Children were raped on camera on Epstein Island.
Do I need to play that again for you, MAGA? Children were raped on Epstein Island. It should bother you that Dunny Boy is covering the Epstein files. There's a complete cover-up. From Cash Patel to Pam Bundy and the whole MAGA Republican Party in Congress, the representatives are all covering up for Donald Trump. If Dunny is innocent, why is there a cover-up? You ask me, as it's been said, because you remember the guy that worked for the DOJ stated that they are redacting everybody that's Republicans in the Epstein files. Which, you know, they had already had, well, Cash Patel had 1,000 FBI agents to redact Donald Trump's name out of the Epstein files. But they are redacting all of the Republicans that are in the Epstein files. And what does Pam Bundy do? They say that's true. That's not true. That's just that guy's opinion. No, he works for the DOJ. It's not just his opinion. He works for the DOJ, Pam Bundy. Stop playing in our face. We ain't slow. Although Donald Trump is, and a con man, the American people are not slow. Especially not me. We'll be getting out of here soon. One moment. So we're going to listen to something that's very important, and this is coming from Don Lemon.
Like we're kind of in that moment now where there's a lack of respect for civil rights, for civil liberties.
Most definitely. It is because we allowed it to happen. We didn't raise our children to know what we've already been through. And you know, Malcolm said, if you don't know where you've been, you don't know where you're going. Yeah. So we have raised a generation of people who don't know what being black means, what being African-centered means.
Malcolm also said, by any means necessary.
By any means necessary.
Do you think people are willing to sacrifice something in this moment? Or
we got to teach them because we're way too comfortable. And you know what I have a real issue with? When I was in junior high school, at Taft Junior High School, they put the National Guard in our schools. I don't know why they acting like they're strangers to something that already happened. So we got to teach them like they're babies. If they don't know what fighting for freedom is, they will never know. So it's up to us. And so I have to be here because what's said here, I have to share. And when I share it, I have to share it with passion because that's my job. So when we get that passion, we're going to be on fire. And it doesn't matter. Burn, baby, burn might have to come again. But you can't be afraid of what you got to do. You got to do it with passion. You got to do it with love. And you got to make it happen.
Do you feel like we're kind of in that moment now where there's a lack of respect?
I'm going to tell you how I feel. And I've said this to y'all before. The MAGA Republican Party is an evil, demonic party. So, you do have to be careful because you can't pick up those spirits. But I, myself, to win, you got to be more evil than them. You got to uppercut them in ways they've never been uppercut before. You got to be meaner and more evil than your enemy. You just can't allow it to overtake you. By any means necessary, Donald Trump needs to go. He got to get out of that office. I don't care what y'all do, but he got to go. And the thing is, it's not going to be a black or brown person that kick him up out of there or whip him up out of there by the molly-whopping of different ways. It's going to be his own MAGA to take him up out of this world. The same way they did Charlie Kirk, MAGA. So stop lying and says the left. And JDVance, stop with your lies trying to put it on the left. When it's your people. It was a white man that took Charlie Kirk up out of here, remember? He was a MAGA. And that is going to be the same person that get Dunny Boy. A MAGA. See, the mind is sick, demonic. And once Satan has controlled the mind, Dunny has no control. He think he does, although he's the Antichrist, in my opinion. Satan rules Dunny. So Satan rules MAGA. One of Donnie's own people is going to really attack him. It would not be a beautiful black person. It would not be a brown person either. Donnie, you in danger, boy. You think you smart, don't you? You hear me, country little bumpkin boy? You're not smart. I saw your grades. You ain't smart, boy. MAGA gonna get you. While we sit back and eat our popcorn, black and brown people, let MAGA work his magic, because he sure worked his magic on Charlie Kirk. I smell a rat in that situation. I've been told y'all that. You should never trust the mediocre white man. Charlie was a mediocre white man, a college dropout. And who got him? Another mediocre white man. And y'all want to say black people violent. Boy, if you don't stop with that doggone conversation of trying to put everything on black people. More about Kash Patel.
We had some major news this morning. Kash Patel, the FBI director, is not just contradicting Donald Trump, but he's walking back online speculation about Republican circles that there were FBI agents at the Capitol participating in January 6th, essentially throwing cold water over that conspiracy theory. Previously, there was a report released by a right-wing reporter suggesting that hundreds of FBI agents were part of the crowd in January 6th. But Kash Patel has now disputed both that report and Donald Trump's claim that undercover bureau agents under former FBI Director Christopher Wray took part in January 6th. He was saying that they were there deployed on a crowd control mission, not anything related to the insurrection, and there was nothing done that amounted to an investigation. This is significant because it splits the narrative displayed by the FBI and by Donald Trump himself. And you know who's not going to be happy about this? The White House. Everyone needs to know that Kash Patel is clarifying this, so spread the word because this is important. Following for all the news you need to know about. We have some major news this morning. Kash Patel, the FBI director, is not just contradicting Donald Trump, but he's...
Oh, Donnie is not going to like that little brown boy Kash Patel. You know, Donnie doesn't like when you correct him. Donnie wants everybody to believe his lies, you know? But we don't believe you, Donnie. Kash Patel... He's disputing Donnie's claims. And Donnie get furious when you dispute his claims. That's because the little man, the little hands, and the little thing in his pity pat pants, he don't like the truth. He like to be lied to that he's great when he's absolutely nothing.
We have breaking news right now. Donald Trump woke up this morning and decided to essentially wage war once again on American citizens, this time in Portland, Oregon, declaring that he has instructed the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, to send military troops into Portland, Oregon, with, quote, full authorization on the table to do essentially whatever these troops want. In a new Truth Social post, Trump writes, at the request of Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, I am directing Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to provide all necessary troops to protect war-ravaged Portland and any of our other ICE facilities under siege from attack by Antifa and other domestic terrorists. I am also authorizing full force if necessary. Thank you for your attention to this matter. What he means by full force is very unclear from this message. Does that mean he's going to sign an order allowing the military to conduct law enforcement activities? very unclear, but he is essentially declaring war on American citizens once again. Spread the word. Follow along to update on all the news you need to know about. We have.
I'm gonna tell you why Donnie is starting a war in his own country, because he won a civil war. And he can't be victorious in actually stopping wars, and he claimed he has now ceased 7 wars. You're laughable, Donnie. There you go, being a compulsive liar again and again and again. Donnie hasn't stopped any wars. But the war is within. The enemy is within Donald Trump. He sent troops, ICE, etc., to Chicago, and they're about to be defeated there. So who's going to win the war, Donnie? You send troops to Portland, which we know that was just to get back at black people because, you know, what happened in D.C. You want to prove America wrong, that you're not just targeting black and brown people. What a shit show, Donnie. America's a shit show. Donald Trump has turned America into nothing but a sourpuss reality show. Donald Trump was investigated because he's a criminal. James Comey is being investigated because Donald Trump is a criminal. You get that? James Comey hasn't done anything. Donald Trump committed crimes and he investigated Donald Trump because he was the FBI director and that's his job. Now, what's going on? James Comey is being investigated because Donald Trump is a criminal again. And Donald is mad that James Comey proved that he was a criminal. Now he wants to try to go after James Comey, and Bundy is wasting her time because James Comey is going to outsmart her because he has a lot more education and experience. And his daughter, Maureen Comey, is very good at being a prosecutor as well. Donnie fired her so he could help with the Epstein situation. And what is her name? Maxwell. He didn't want Maureen Comey to stand in his way because she's going to do things with honor and dignity. She would have never helped Donnie with this. Her great father, James Comey, taught her better. See, Donnie like people that's going to be yes people and criminals right along with them and ruin their whole careers. Because Pam Bundy, career is going to be done, finito.
Musk is lashing out online, finally addressing the fact that he was mentioned in the latest batch of Epstein documents. And while he claims the media is lying about him, the receipts tell a much different story. Check this out. Now, this is the only time he has addressed the subject thus far, replying to Sky News, and they said Elon Musk and Prince Andrew named in the latest Epstein files release. He says, "Shame on Sky News for this utterly misleading headline. Anyone pushing this false narrative deserves complete contempt. Epstein tried to get me to go to his island and I refused. Yet they named me before Prince Andrew, who did actually visit." But as this guy pointed out, it's just a coincidence that both he has a picture with Ghislaine Maxwell and that Jeffrey Epstein invited him to his island. In fact, he was scheduled to go there. This wasn't just an invitation. As you can tell right here on Epstein's schedule, it says Elon Musk to island December 6th. Is this still happening? In my opinion, this reads as if he had accepted the invite already and was actually scheduled to meet there. And the article wasn't misleading at all. Elon Musk's name was mentioned in the Epstein files, and so was Prince Andrew's. So my question is, what exactly does he think is misleading about this headline? Because they just described exactly what happened. It seems to me that Elon Musk is worried about the wrong things here. Instead of
everybody that affiliates with Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. Y'all, this is just funny, you know? This is hilarious because there's not one black person. President Joe Biden is not in it either. President Barack Obama is not in the Epstein files either. Okay, Bill Clinton, yeah. And that doesn't surprise me at all. Not at all. No. No.
Supreme Court is trying to hide its plan to prevent black people from voting and rig elections for Republicans. This is bad, like very, very bad. Last Friday, the Supreme Court dropped a hint towards their plan to destroy fair elections. You probably didn't hear about it, and that's part of the plan, according to Pema Levy and Mother Jones. The court's announcement that it'll pick up Louisiana v. Calais signals they're ready and eager to dismantle the Voting Rights Act of 1965. The monumental legislation was a major turning point for the civil rights movement, guaranteeing equal protection for minority voters and that their districts would fairly and accurately represent their populations. The Voting Rights Act was necessary because previously, white people literally owned black people, so finally giving them access to fair elections was the least we could do. The case in Louisiana was brought forth by a bunch of racist white people who say that the Voting Rights Act is racist against white people, saying that the equal treatment of minority voters is actually discrimination against white voters. Partly because of racism, and also because people of color and black people are more likely to vote Democrat, Republicans want to make it so that they have the legal
That's an ugly
ability
face
to
right there,
gerrymander
monster
the
face.
out of the country to make it harder for their votes to count as much as white people's votes do. What's happening in Texas is just the beginning. All states will be able to gerrymander elections to serve the political party they favor, and a state that is only 40% white will be majority white controlled. None of what's happening is a coincidence. This is a well thought out, well coordinated, and well researched attack on many levels. Project 20.
That's why they actually started ICE, because the elections is coming. They want to get rid of brown people because they thought too many brown people was going to vote for Democrats. They even sick ICE out on black people to try to stop our vote. And ICE will be at the election booth trying to stop our vote. That's what's going to happen. But black people, you stand strong. We are a resilient group of people. We're strong. Without us, America will fall. But the mediocre white man is so simple-minded, he thinks he can make it in this world without us. No, you can't. Because everything you know comes from us. Everything you do comes from us. America would fall to its knees without black people. You see what's happening now that you're getting rid of all the beautiful brown people? It's falling. London Bridge is falling down, baby. Your people can't make it here without the black and brown people. Donnie Boy is pretty much wanting the brown people to come back because the farmers can't survive. Donnie Boy want to eat. You know, fat boy got to eat. Yeah, Donnie got to eat. Fat boy got to eat. Yeah.
Over their buildings. New York was already there for thousands of years. San Francisco was there for thousands of years. Los Angeles was there for thousands of years. They were built by the indigenous people who were black and Indians as well. The black people, they weren't brought over by slaves. They are the original owners of America. Black people, African Americans. They don't come from Africa. They were already here. And take over their buildings. New York was already there for thousands of years. San Francisco was there
White
for
people
thousands of
only
years. Los Angeles
6,000
was there for
years
thousands of
old.
years. They were built by the indigenous people who were black and Indians as well. The black people, they weren't brought over by slaves. They are the original owners of America. Black people, African Americans. They don't come from Africa. They were already here. And take over their buildings.
I'm going to have to rest my case in a minute. See, this is why I show the outcome of what other people have to say. And I make sure I put a lot of your own race in there that's speaking it. Because y'all love to come in and talk smack about my opinions. So I manipulate you white MAGA people with your own people. I let them get on here and tell it. And it just bothers y'all that I do that, don't you? I know what I'm doing. I know exactly what I'm doing.
Donald Trump's visit to here, the United Kingdom, this week. I'm sure by now you've seen pictures online, here on TikTok and various other social media outlets, of what was projected onto Windsor Castle last night. But did you realise they didn't just show a few pictures? They broadcast loudly over loudspeakers, along with the images, the whole story of Donald Trump. It was 9 minutes long, all projected onto that turret of the castle of Windsor Castle. Please, here you go. Watch
Take a look and
Here
listen.
it is for you in its entirety, and full credit to LED by Donkey, the people who did this. They are heroes. Check it out.
This is Windsor Castle, home of the British royal family, where Donald Trump is staying during his state visit. And this is a film about Trump's relationship with the world's most famous pedophile, Jeffrey Epstein. Their friendship goes back to at least 1992, when the two of them are filmed laughing together. Trump can be seen making friendly conversation with Epstein in between clips of Trump smiling and dancing with a group of young women at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida. The following year, they attend a cafe opening together. And a month after that, Trump invites Epstein to his wedding. In 1995, a young woman called Maria Farmer is working for Epstein in Manhattan. Late one night, she says, Epstein unexpectedly calls her to his offices, and she arrives in running shorts. Donald Trump then turns up, wearing a business suit, and starts to hover over her. Ms. Farmer feels scared as Trump stares at her bare legs. Then Epstein enters the room, and she recalls him saying to Trump, "No, she's not here for you." The two men then leave the room, and Ms. Farmer says she heard Trump commenting that he thought Ms. Farmer was 16 years old. She says she later reported the incident to the authorities. Trump denies he was ever in Epstein's office. 1993 to 1997, Trump takes at least 8 flights on Epstein's private jet, according to flight logs released by the U.S. Department of Justice. The plane is later dubbed the Lolita Express, a reference to the character in the Nabokov novel by the same name, a 12-year-old child who is sexually abused by an older man. 1997, Trump and Epstein are seen together at 2 Victoria's Secret parties and are photographed together at Mar-a-Lago. The same year, Trump gifts a book to Epstein with the dedication, "To Jeff, you are the greatest, Donald." 2000, a 16-year-old girl, Virginia Giuffre, is working in the spa at Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort. There, she is recruited by Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, to work as a personal masseuse for Epstein. The teenager will soon become, in her words, a teen sex slave and will endure years of sexual abuse.
I was recruited at a very young age from Mar-a-Lago and entrapped in a world that I didn't understand.
25 years later, Trump will acknowledge he was aware that young women were being recruited from Mar-a-Lago by Epstein.
Some of them young women, well, I don't want to say, but everyone knows the people that were taken. And it was the concept of taking people that work for me is bad. But that story's been pretty well out there. And the answer is yes, they were.
Trump is then asked if one of them was Virginia Giuffre.
I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people. Yeah. He stole her.
2 years later, after Giuffre was recruited from his club by Epstein and Maxwell, Trump tells New York Magazine he thinks that Epstein is a, quote, terrific guy, and that they have known each other for 15 years. He's a lot of fun to be with, Trump says. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. 2003, Trump draws a message in a book made for Epstein's 50th birthday. The drawing depicts a woman's breasts and is accompanied by text written by Trump to Epstein that includes the line, quote, "We have certain things in common, Jeffrey," end quote. Trump signs off by saying, quote, "Happy birthday, and may every day be
I
another
agree,
wonderful
King
season."
Chris.
A Donald signature is written in the place of pubic hair. 22 years later, Trump will begin legal action against the Wall Street Journal over their reporting of the drawing, claiming it doesn't exist. Epstein's estate then releases the drawing to Congress. Another entry in the birthday book contains a photo of Epstein holding a novelty check bearing Donald Trump's signature, along with a note suggesting Epstein, quote-unquote, sold Trump a woman for $22,500. It's unclear if the photo and accompanying note is a joke or not. 2004. The two men fall out, and their close relationship ends. The reason for their estrangement? They both tried to buy the same Palm Beach mansion. 2005, police in Palm Beach begin investigating Epstein after a 14-year-old child reports he molested her at his mansion. 2008, Epstein pleads guilty to state charges in Florida. including procuring a child for prostitution and solicitation of prostitution. The sweetheart plea deal, agreed by U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta, includes a non-prosecution agreement giving Epstein immunity from possible federal charges. He is sentenced to just 18 months in jail. Under the plea deal, Epstein is allowed to be out of jail from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 6 days a week and has his own driver to take him to and from his office. 2010. In a legal deposition, Epstein is asked about his relationship with Donald Trump.
Have you ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
By the way, this was around about the time that Prince Andrew was photographed walking with Epstein in Central Park. 2016. According to award-winning CBS News producer Ira Rosen, Maxwell confirms to him that Epstein secretly taped his famous friends, including Trump and Bill Clinton. February 2017. Donald Trump, now President of the United States, nominates Alex Acosta, the man behind Epstein's sweetheart plea deal, to be his Secretary of Labor. August 2017. Epstein conducts a series of taped interviews with the journalist Michael Wolff, research for a potential book Wolff hopes to write. In the interviews, Epstein claims Trump first slept with Melania on the Lolita Express, and also says he was Trump's closest friend for a decade.
So how do you know this? That was right.
July 2019. Epstein is arrested in New York on federal sex trafficking charges. The truth about his decades-long history of child abuse is finally being widely reported. A month later, he's found dead in his jail cell. The authorities declare his death a suicide. 2020. Maxwell is charged with federal crimes for helping recruit underage girls for Epstein and participating in the abuse herself. Trump is asked about the charges and replies,
I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since
Who would wish an ex-trafficker and an SA abuser well?
But I wish her well.
2024. Asked about whether he would release the so-called Epstein files, information about Epstein's crimes, and potentially his famous accomplices, Trump seems unsure.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you,
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because
Listen carefully.
You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there.
He mean affect his life.
World.
2025. Trump is now president again, and his administration blocks release of the Epstein files. It is soon revealed that his Attorney General, Pam Bondi, told Trump in May that his name is in the files before authorizing the release of a handful of transcripts only. Trump's one-time personal lawyer, now Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, then meets Ghislaine Maxwell in prison for 9 hours. Amid speculation of a quid pro quo to protect Trump, days later, Maxwell is moved to a low-security prison famous for its comfortable conditions and known as Club Fed. This is what we know. The President of the United States was a longtime close friend of America's most notorious child sex trafficker. He's alleged to be mentioned numerous times in the files arising from the investigation into that child sex trafficker. And now he is back in office. The U.S. federal government appears to be doing all it can to prevent the American public from learning fully about the president's relationship with the country's most notorious child sex trafficker. Now that president,
Queen.
Donald Trump, is sleeping here in Windsor Castle.
That's the true rundown of Donald Trump. The hoochie coochie man. That's what I call Donald Trump, the hoochie coochie man. I know it's late, y'all. I'm going to show y'all one more thing to take us up out of here, okay? I know y'all miss me. We're going to get up out of here. I'm going to find one more thing to show y'all that I really want to show you. One moment. I'm sleepy too, trust me. It was some. Here it is. Oh, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry I came on so late. Because I usually try not to go live on Sunday. But I just wanted to see y'all because I love you. You know I do.
Conquered. We were invaded, and after over 500 years of colonial occupation, we are still here. Your Anglo ancestors were not settlers. They were not pioneers. They did not build anything on their own. Everything around you was built on the backs of enslaved Africans. On Native American land stolen by force. Every farm, every suburb, every so-called American dream is rooted in the dispossession of indigenous people. Built on stolen land. The Homestead Act gave out millions of acres, our acres, to white families. Railroads cut through our territories. Progress built on genocide. Your family's chance at prosperity was not earned. It was granted by systemic theft. While Native people were forced onto reservations and
Thank you,
starved.
King DJ
We were
David.
not conquered. We were invaded. And after over 500 years of colonial occupation, we are still here. Your
Hello,
Anglo
Queen
ancestors
Sandra
were not
Logan.
settlers. They were not pioneers. They did not build anything on their own. Everything around you was built on the backs of enslaved Africans. On Native American land stolen by force. Every farm, every suburb, every so-called American dream is rooted in the dispossession of indigenous people. Built on stolen
Hello,
land.
King
The
Chris.
Homestead Act gave out millions of acres, our acres, to white families. Railroads cut through our territories. Progress built on genocide. Your family's chance at prosperity was not earned. It was granted by systemic theft. While Native people were forced.
Systemic theft is a fact. So, MAGA, when you come in here and you want to run your dick suckers, remember, you only have everything because systemic theft. Your family didn't earn anything. Your ancestors didn't earn anything, baby. You stole it. And you like to come in here and brag like you something special. You're not. The sun doesn't even like you. I want to leave y'all with that. I love you all, and you know I do. We go together real bad, and you know it. Why you come over here to my life? Because I give you what you want, and I give you what you need, satisfaction guarantee. That comes from me. So I will be seeing y'all tomorrow as well. Tomorrow evening, preferably around 7 or 8. Yeah, I love you guys. And I'm sorry I came on so late. I know you love me. You'll forgive me. Won't you? Yeah, you will. So I'm going to get up out of here and let y'all get some beauty rest, okay? Because MAGA, they don't age well, you know? So they got to get some sleep, okay? I love you guys. Goodbye.